Scottsdale, Phoenix.
An MLS showdown in the desert. Get ready for a night of top-tier soccer as Phoenix Rising hosts Major League Soccer's Houston Dynamo for the first time ever, Wednesday, May 7th at 7 p.m. It's a round of 32 clash in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, and tickets start at just $9. The first 2,000 fans from the gates will score a limited edition Phoenix Rising t-shirt, and the night features fan-favorite drink specials throughout the stadium. It's more than a match. It's a moment. Bring the noise. Bring your jersey. Bring a friend or five. Get your tickets now at phxrisingfc.com.
Today at Denny's, buy an original Grand Slam or an All-American Slam and get another for just $1. It's the biggest, yummiest deal in America. One slam for $1. Only at Denny's. Valid at participating locations for dine-in only. Limited time offer.
Ooh, Del Taco?
Yep, they got these new boxes that are loaded with my faves.
Big boxes, come on, can I get a Del, yeah?
Del, yeah.
What was that?
Oh, I bring these guys everywhere. Really enhances the experience.
Introducing El Big Boxes from Del Taco. Choose from the $5 Classico, the $7 Mex Faves, and $9 Amerimex box. More food, more flavor, more value. Only at Del Taco.
Del, yeah.
Price of participation may vary.
Welcome to Disneyland.
Get excited to join the Disneyland Resort 70th celebration. Because it's not a celebration without you. With all the decor, the new character outfits, and dazzling shows. Everyone's excited to join. Delight in special 70th experiences, like an all-new World of Color show. The returning favorite, Paint the Night Parade. And so much more. The fun starts May 16th, 2025, only for a limited time. So come join us for this once-in-a-lifetime celebration with a special ticket offer as low as $100 per day with a special 4-day, 1-park-per-day ticket. Total price $400. Valid May 16th through August 14th, 2025. Park ticket and reservation required. Visit Disneyland.com/70 ticket offer for details. Offering subject to capacity restrictions and change without notice.
Get your to-do list ready. The Home Depot just opened a new store in Surprise. So whether you're making simple upgrades or full-on renovations, the Home Depot has you covered with great prices on tools, materials, rentals, and more. Plus, order online or with the Home Depot app and get it all delivered to your door fast and free. Visit us at 16601 Cactus Road in Surprise and start your next project today with the Home Depot.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
Getting you ready for the toughest stretch of the season so far for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Are there actually going to be meaningful changes to the Suns front office? And is the work done for the Arizona Cardinals? All of that, the focus of today's lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. We welcome you in to the Tuesday edition of the program. Chris Schubert with you for the next 2 hours on this Tuesday edition of the show. We got Evan behind the glass, pushing all the buttons, taking your phone calls at 480-864-1060. And if you're interested, you can always watch the show over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube channel. A 16-game stretch for the Arizona Diamondbacks that may make or break their season in a lot of ways gets started tonight. The work for the Arizona Cardinals, is it all done? And the NBA playoffs kind of messing with the offseason plans in some ways for the Phoenix Suns. But we will start today with the baseball team.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
We first touched on this yesterday. We set the stage for what begins tonight. 16 games, 5 series against what can only be described as the best of the best in the National League. 3-game series tonight with the Mets, 3-game series in Philadelphia with the Phillies. You come back home, another series with the Mets, 4-game set with the Dodgers, and you finish that off with a 3-game series in San Francisco against the Giants. Team that's leading The NL East and the Mets, the first team to 20 wins. You play them for 6 of those 16 games. You get 2 division rivals. Our first chance to see how this team stands up against the Dodgers, to see how this team stacks up against the Giants. And, oh, yeah, in the middle of all of it, just a nice series with the Philadelphia Phillies, who were a playoff team a year ago. Day after day during this 16-game stretch, it is a battle test for this Diamondbacks team. And so let's get ahead of it. What does this team need to accomplish during this 16-game stretch? We yesterday said, I think your overall hope here is to just stay afloat. Your overall hope is to not slide too far backwards, to stay within striking distance of the National League West, which by and large you have done despite losing Ketel Marte 8 games into the season, despite your starting pitching being hot and cold throughout these first 28 games or so, losing all of the bullpen arms that you have lost so far through 28 games of the season, a lot of adversity that this team has already faced. They have relatively stayed close. I think the 15-13 record, we would expect it to be better. We would expect them to be closer than 4th place in the NL West. That has a lot to do with how good San Francisco has been, with how good the Dodgers, the Padres, just being the standard bearers of National League Baseball. And yet, despite all of the struggles and all of the games that they've given away and the injuries that have stacked up, this is still a team that is 3.5 games back of the San Francisco Giants and the Los Angeles Dodgers, who both come into the day at 19-10. So what does this team need to do? What does this team need to accomplish? Is it a certain win total? Is it going at least 8-8, keeping yourself above water? Because even if you go 8-8, if in that same 16-game stretch, the Dodgers go 10-6, they gain 2 games on you. The Giants, they gain 2 games on you, and a 3.5 game deficit turns into a 5.5 game deficit. So, what does this team need to accomplish over these next 16 games? Is 8-8 enough? Is treading above water enough? And I think the way that I want to set the bar for this, I would love to hear from you on this at 480-864-1060 or over on YouTube, where Michael has a fantastic suggestion that we may want to implement here in just a second. I think the bar should be set. If you can get past this 16-game stretch in which you're about to, it looks like, get some reinforcements to the bullpen, a big key reinforcement to the bullpen. At some point, the expectation is that Ketel Marte will rejoin this team during this stretch, even perhaps during this 6-game road trip with New York and Philly on the calendar. I think the bar should be set that after this 16 games is done, this team is still, at worst, 3.5 games out of first place. That is, by definition, treading water and not allowing the season to fall off the rails during this 16-game stretch. Now, I know what many of you are thinking. With the way that we talked about this team at the beginning of the season, that should be the bare minimum. That the expectation is you go into Philly and you show that you're a team to be reckoned with. You go into New York. You face them 6 times in this 16-game stretch. You go 4-2 against the New York Mets. You send them back to reality a little bit. They play a team that's above 500, and they see where they're at in the pecking order of the National League. With a rotation that's supposed to be just as good, if not better, as the Dodgers, with Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte and Josh Naylor and Pavin Smith and all of the guys that we were talking about before the season, getting through this stretch and being in the same spot you were in before would be a disappointment to many. But this is where the context of the season matters. This team, without a win on Sunday, would be in the middle of a 5-game losing streak. They have not played anywhere near their best baseball in the last week or so. We are having a crisis of confidence about the Diamondbacks bullpen on a hourly basis here on this show. This week, this is our 3rd hour of the week. Once again, here we are talking about the Diamondbacks bullpen and the worry, the lack of confidence that we have in this group. Their number 2 hitter right now, we're going to talk in hour number 2 of the program if he needs to be moved out of that spot in the lineup. Other than Brandon Pfaadt, you are not getting the reliable starting pitching across the board that this team was expecting. So yeah, before the season, you looked at this 16-game stretch as a way for you to make a statement to the rest of the league. And that opportunity still exists. But through the first 28 games, we've got some small fires that we're trying to put out as a team right now. We're trying to see if this bullpen has enough reinforcements. And if the one guy that it looks like they're going to activate to their roster later on today, because they haven't officially done it yet, if Kevin Ginkel's reemergence into this bullpen is the magic secret sauce that fixes their issues. If getting Ketel Marte helps the bottom part of the lineup, 2 guys in particular that have been struggling lately in Lourdes Gurriel and Geraldo Perdomo. These are all questions that we have entering a 16-game stretch where, you know who right now isn't asking a ton of questions about their baseball team? New York Mets fans. You know who isn't asking a ton of serious, hard questions about where their baseball team is at? The LA Dodgers and their fan base are not having these conversations. San Francisco Sports Talk Radio is not littered with phone calls today, wondering about the bullpen, wondering about when Ketel Marte is coming back. They don't have those situations. They're a team that's in first place, playing some pretty darn good baseball. So while at the beginning of the season, you circled this 16-game stretch and said, this is a tough stretch, but it is a way for us to let the rest of the baseball world know that we are here and we're ready to make noise. Now, you look at this 16-game stretch and you enter it going, boy, I hope that when we get through the other side of this, that we're still close enough to the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Giants. And so it's not a win total. It's not you have to go 8-8, you have to go 9-7, you have to go 10-6. It's not a specific number. It's, I think, worst case scenario, this team needs to be 3.5 games back, which is exactly where they are today when they start this 16-game stretch. I don't care what their record looks like, as long as when we get to the other side of this, they are still within striking distance. They're within those 3.5 games. I think that we would be able to classify this as a successful 16-game trip. Now, you go 4-12 in these 16 games, and for whatever reason, everybody else in the division struggles, and you stay within 3.5 games. I don't know if we're going to call that a successful road trip. I think you're going to have to win a decent amount of games for that to be the case, but I think it is possible. And so I don't want to put a number on it. Michael said, can we put up the next 16 games like it's an NFL schedule and play the win-loss game? I think everybody's just jonesing for the NFL schedule to come out so we can play the win-loss game later in the month of May.
Somebody was excited about that tease.
Hey, listen, when you tease something a month in advance, that's how you know you're doing radio correctly. And we got the people excited about it. I mean, we can do it. I only have the starting pitching matchups about halfway through. There's about 6 games worth of this trip that we don't have pitching matchups for. But you look at the 3 that you're going to get against the New York Mets, and you're going to face their 3 best starters. David Peterson, Kodai Senga, and Clay Holmes statistically have been their best starters this season. And you're throwing Erod, Corbin Burns, Zach Allen, 2 of your 3 best starters. It's on the road, 2 out of 3, 1 out of 3, at least. Can't get swept. You go to Philly, we can ask our resident Philadelphia Phillies expert, what should Diamondbacks fans have as their standard for that series? Is 2 out of 3 on the table?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, you're going to come into a part of the rotation. Wheeler pitches today for the Phillies, so you might see him on Wednesday.
They would catch him on Sunday.
Sunday.
Sunday he pitches. It's the pitching matchup as it is currently situated would be Eduardo Rodriguez against Zach Wheeler on Sunday at 11:05.
Yeah, so listen, I think that the Phillies will steal that one, but this is an offense that has really been struggling. I know the Phillies just took 2 of 3 in Chicago, but they didn't do that because the bats woke up or anything. I know they scored 10 runs on Saturday, but the Phillies really have been bad over the last 2 weeks. I mean, we watched that
So 2 out of 3 there, definitely on the table. You play New York here. In that series, you have Burns, Gallen, Kelly. I'm sorry, but when a series lines up and I have Corbin Burns, Zach Gallen, and Merrill Kelly going in that series, the expectation for me is you got to win 2 out of 3. When those 3 guys are on the mound, I have to win 2 out of 3 of those starts. So 2 out of 3 in Philly, 2 out of 3 when you're home against New York. That's 4 wins right there. I look at Brandon Pfaadt getting a couple of starts here during this stretch. He plays the Phillies on Saturday. He'll pitch against them later on this week. He gets the opener against the Dodgers on Thursday. Brandon Pfaadt, Roki Sasaki is the pitching matchup there. I mean, listen, if you want to wash away the concerns that we have about the bullpen, if you want to wash away the concerns that we have about the bottom of the order, if you want to wash away the concerns that we have about everybody not named Brandon Pfaadt in the rotation, this is your 16-game stretch to prove that to us. You come through this 16-game stretch and you go 10-6, you go 11-5, I'm going to be impressed by that because that means you're doing the little things right. You're going to get good quality starting pitching. Your bullpen is going to hold on to a bunch of leads. The bats are going to wake up. That's the only way you're going to get to a place where you win that many games and you stay within that 3.5 game mark. So I don't want to put an exact number on it. I think that's unfair and it's unrealistic because you don't know what the other teams during these next 16 games are going to do. But for me, we have to get to we have to get to Thursday, May 15th, an off day for the Diamondbacks. They will then start a 3-game home series against Colorado. We have to be previewing that Colorado series, ending that San Francisco series, talking about a team that is still within 3.5 games of the National League West. If they do that, this is a successful stretch. This is them answering their first major tough test, and I think it would go a long way for all of us to breathe a sigh of relief about the worries and struggles that we have watched this team go through so far through the first 28 games of the season. That is what is in front of them, and it starts tonight with the New York Mets on the dish. When we come back, want to hear from you, 480-864-1060. Also, would love to hear from you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. Is James Jones's role actually going to change? We'll talk about that next. It's the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, Peter Frampton. Let's Do It Again tour, June 25th, Arizona Financial Theater. Grammy winner, the one and only Peter Frampton. On sale now at livenation.com.
Baby, I love you.
Come visit the all-new Wecopa Casino Resort, formerly Fort McDowell Casino. Whether you're visiting for slots, table games, the Valley's favorite bingo hall, golf, or food, our new smoke-free casino resort is the place to be. Enjoy a fine dining experience like no other at Ember, or go for the lively crowd at WKP Sportsbook and Bar. Wecopa offers 2 top 10 golf courses in the state, and the resort with heated pools and cabanas is the perfect place to relax. Come experience Wecopa Casino Resort today. At Wecopa, we have the best of it all.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Inc. card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
At Shane Company, we know getting engaged is a big decision. But once you know, you know. That's the way our customers feel when they choose a Shane Company engagement ring. They walk into a warm welcome and walk out with their dream ring, knowing they got it right. For almost 100 years, we've been offering personalized shopping experiences. And we're in it way past the honeymoon, with a free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, cleanings, repairs, and resizing for life. Shop with us at shaneco.com or at your neighborhood store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Jim Rome here with your Rome Report. You want to blame somebody for the Lakers being on the verge of elimination, trailing Minnesota 3-1. Blame Laker head coach J.J. Redick for abusing his own guys, playing all 5 starters in the second half of Game 4. Every single minute of that half, playing a 40-year-old LeBron the entire second half borders on elder abuse. Panic much, JJ? Is that how little you trust anybody outside the starting 5? There's a reason, JJ, that no starting 5 has ever played every minute of a half in the playoffs. It's because it's reckless, unnecessary. It just got you beat and probably cost you the series. What were you thinking anyway, asking them to do that when you know none of them are going to ask out of that game? And asking them to do it on a Sunday after playing Friday on a night when Luka was sick as a dog? You may still be the smartest guy in the room, JJ, but that really was one of the dumbest things ever and costliest. I'm Jim Rome.
O'Reilly. Get one free set of Brake Best brake pads when you buy 2 Brake Best Select brake rotors. You can upgrade to Brake Best Select brake pads for just $10 more, or upgrade to Brake Best Select Pro or import direct pads for just $20 more. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts. Offer in store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KTUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
We continue to wait and see what the Suns are going to do with their front office shakeup and changes. Matt Ishbia told all of us change is coming across the board to the Phoenix Suns, and it's reporting out there from Dwayne Rankin of the Arizona Republic that there's an addition coming to the front office, and we were left wondering, would there be a subtraction or is it just an addition? And what does it mean for James Jones and his future? Remember, his contract expires at the end of June. So if he is going to remain on board in some capacity, right now he holds both the general manager title and the president of basketball operations title. So in a world where they hire Bob Myers, because that's been the rumor we've been discussing a bunch here over the last week or so on the show, if they hired Bob Myers, it would be as a president of basketball operations, the guy that oversees everything, is the final decision maker outside of Matt Ishbia on the basketball side of things. Well, in that scenario, James Jones would be somewhat relegated back to just being the general manager, maybe handling more of the day-to-day stuff. And in that world, he still needs a contract extension. In a world where somebody is brought on as an addition to this staff and it remains a collaborative process and James Jones doesn't necessarily lose any titles on his business card, but they add somebody else to the process. If James Jones is going to be the architect of this team in the summer, whether it is as one voice or the voice, whatever the case may be, it's going to come with a new contract. His expires at the end of June. So there has to be some type of finality to that situation. Well, perhaps we can read the tea leaves and read between the lines of what the Suns may be thinking. Because there was a report over the weekend by Mark Stein, NBA insider. We've talked about some of Mark Stein's reporting when it came to the Bob Myers interest from the Suns. Mark Stein's done an excellent job covering the Kevin Durant trade rumors. He's been kind of at the forefront of some of the reporting here on the Suns and what their future may or may not look like. Well, he reported over the weekend that James Jones has been, quote, operating as the point guard for the Phoenix coaching search, end quote. So James Jones operating as the point guard for the Phoenix coaching search. Now remember, they're going to add somebody to their front office. Remember, we have said on this show, get the front office in order, and the reporting has backed this up, get the front office in order, and then conduct your coaching search. If James Jones is operating as the point guard for the coaching search, that sounds like a guy who's going to get a contract extension before the end of June. That a new contract is going to be slid across the table. I don't know if you do that anymore. Everything's kind of just e-signature at this point. You get an email and it says sign here, and you go in there and you type your name and it makes a signature for you, and you just sign a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, but then you can't post a picture of them with the backdrop and the pen in their hand.
Well, they'll still sign something, but most of the time I think that's just like a phony piece of paper that doesn't actually have any real legal binding nature to it. It's just a piece of paper that they make it look like it's a contract, and then they just sign it. Most things are done electronically these days, but either electronically or physically, a new contract slid across the table to James Jones. If he is right now perhaps James Jones is just operating business as usual. I'm the general manager. I'm the president of basketball ops. We need a head coach. Until I hear otherwise, until I hear that somebody new is involved in this process, I'm just going to do my job, and I'm going to work on getting a new head coach for this basketball team. Perhaps that's what's going on. That leads me to a question of how's the communication in the building? It doesn't sound like everybody's on the same page. But either way, if Jones is going to be the lead guy for this head coach search, so far it looks like he is, does that sound like a guy whose contract is going to expire at the end of June and he is going to be working in another organization? That he is no longer going to be working for the Phoenix Suns organization? No, it does not. It sounds like a guy who very much is going to have a say, is very much going to have his fingerprints all over the new identity of this basketball team. Are we okay with that? Are we okay with James Jones continuing to have a say in the way this roster looks, in the way this next chapter of Suns basketball under Matt Ishbia looks? I know my answer. This concerns me. It concerns me because it brings up a fear that I had, that I shared when we saw the initial reporting of the Suns wanting to make an addition to their front office and not really giving any clarity to James Jones's future. I worry that we are barreling down toward a situation where you have too many cooks in the kitchen. You have too many voices. You have too many opinions. Everybody can't get on the same page, and they are unable to nail down and agree on one unified vision for what this future is going to look like. And producer Evan, in our morning meeting today, thought aloud, what if James Jones is going to work on this coaching search and then he's just going to leave at the end of June when his contract is up and there's not going to be a new contract extension? And I said to him, that would make me have zero faith, zero confidence. Right now I have 5% confidence, 10% confidence, maybe on a good day, of the direction this team is going in. And it'll grow when I see some of the decisions that they make. That decision to allow Jones to kind of linger around and then just can't come to terms with him. See, after Matt Ishbia had his end of year recap, he had his exit interview with the media, we wondered aloud, could we see a world where they bring somebody else in and then they can't see eye to eye, in air quotes, can't see eye to eye with James Jones, and he just leaves when his contract is up? And we thought that could have been a possibility. But if James Jones is the point guard of the head coach search, again, it doesn't sound like a guy who they don't want around. It sounds like a guy they want to keep around. And so if we then end up in the place where he's gone and did have a say in this head coach search, that would be a very, very, very bad look. It would show to me that this team has no clue what they're doing. Now, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know if James Jones being the point guard of this head coach search just means he's putting together a list of people that they want to interview. I mean, this is interesting. Is it a shock to anybody else the way it is to me that we haven't heard a single name leak as to who the Suns might be interested in hiring? They fired Coach Bud the day the season was over, right? That Monday, he was gone. We haven't heard a peep. People have thrown out potential names. Chris Haynes threw out a bunch of names, but have you heard a single name be linked to this job at this point?
No.
Not at all. I think that's surprising that we are this far into the process and we haven't heard a single name leak. But I just want to get everybody mentally prepared. It doesn't look like to me that James Jones is going anywhere. It looks like James Jones is going to have a very serious say in the way this Suns team looks next season. And I know that there are probably some of you out there who want to give James the benefit of the doubt, want to look at the job that he did putting together the team that was 2 wins away from the NBA Finals. And sure, that's really the thing you'd have to lean on to make that case. I would point to the way this roster has looked over the last couple of years, the way they build out a bench, the way they identified Bradley Beal as a target to be the third piece. He was involved in these coaching searches. He was a part of the process that picked Frank Vogel. He was a part of the process, whatever you want to call that process was, to fire Vogel and then to hire Coach Bud. He was a part of all of that. All of that is on his resume. And you can't cherry pick and say, oh, well, this one is a move that Matt Ishbia did, or this one we're going to give credit to James Jones for. You can't do that. You have to take it all in totality. And I don't love the resume. I think I'm ready for a fresh vision. I think I'm ready for a new, different voice to have a seat at the table and to be the one making suggestions and bringing a new vision to light. It just doesn't seem like that's the direction that this team is interested in going in.
Now, I still can't get over that if it is James Jones making this hire, they're going to add to the front office after making the coaching hire. That in and of itself feels backwards.
Well, they still could, because again, we haven't heard any names. We haven't heard, oh, they've interviewed this guy, they've interviewed that guy. We haven't heard any of that. We could still live in a world where in the next week or two, they hire somebody to add to their front office, and then it is full steam ahead, and then we start hearing about they're interviewing this assistant coach, or they're hiring this, they're interviewing this ex-player. I can see a world where that is the scenario that plays out. But the longer this goes without them adding, at some point they're going to want to start interviewing people, no? And at some point,
you have to assume
they're going to want to get somebody on board so they can start. I don't want to say hiring a coach is the easy part, but they've got some major roster decisions to make. They have to try to negotiate and land the plane on a Kevin Durant trade. I mean, that is a heavy ask. That is a heavy lift for this team. And trust me, it's gotten a little bit more difficult. We'll talk about this a little bit later on in the show, but it feels like speculation is starting to ramp up about a certain player that's going to make the Suns' pursuits of a Kevin Durant trade maybe a little bit more difficult this summer. And so you kind of want to get the front office stuff settled quickly. You kind of want to get the coaching stuff settled quickly so that the makeover of this roster, a Kevin Durant trade, if there's going to be one, you can start the hard work that it is going to take to land that plane. Yet here we are discussing the guy whose contract. See, I would feel okay about James Jones being the point guard of this head coach search if we had news that he signed a new deal. I may not agree with him getting a new deal. I maybe would disagree with doubling down on James Jones, and we can have that debate. But you got a guy operating on an expiring deal, overseeing this head coach search. It just feels backwards to me.
But you would have an answer at least.
You would have an answer, and I could at least get on board with, okay, they want to stick by James. They're at least trying to do this in the right way. And that doesn't appear to be the case right now. 480-864-1060, the phone number. Want to hear from you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube channel as well. When we come back, is there anything major that the Cardinals still need to accomplish now that the draft is in the rearview window? That's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh, my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Judas Priest and Alice Cooper.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
The Metal Gods, Judas Priest. The Godfather of Shock Rock, Alice Cooper. October 22nd, Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater with special guest, Corrosion of Conformity. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Presented by 100.7 KSLX, part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
I'm sure everyone says this, but my mom really deserves the world. This year, I finally found a Mother's Day gift that comes close. She loves Hellsberg, so I'm getting her these timeless gold earrings she can enjoy for years to come. They feel special enough to show how much I truly appreciate everything she does for me. And I mean everything. I even sent my dad a link to the Diamond Eternity band he'll be getting her, too.
Save up to 50% on Mother's Day gifts Mom will cherish forever. Visit Hellsberg.com or a store near you.
Hi, Luis Gonzalez here. Want to bet? Feel the thrill of Casino Arizona with 1,400 of the hottest slots and nonstop table game action. We make winners, no experience necessary. Join us for the best bingo in the valley with daily sessions. Indulge in all-you-can-eat Eagles Buffet or enjoy fine dining experience at the award-winning Choyo Steakhouse. Enjoy top-notch local entertainment, tribute bands, and viewing parties at CAZ Sports Bar, just off the 101 in McKellips. Casino Arizona, uniquely Arizona.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm Kevin Rowe from Lerner Rowe, and we've been serving Arizonans for 20 years. Make the best choice after an accident. Call 977-1900. That's 977-1900.
Lerner Road is the way to go. Call 977-1900. 977-1900.
Life's better with American Family Insurance. Because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Get tattooed by award-winning tattoo artists at the Grand Canyon Tattoo Convention, Friday, May 2nd through Sunday, May 4th at the Phoenix Shrine Auditorium. Artists from all over the world specializing in black and gray, traditional, new school, and more will be on site ready to tattoo. Enjoy free parking, food, daily tattoo competitions, and more. Hours are Friday, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday, noon to 10 p.m., and Sunday, noon to 6 p.m. Get your tickets at the door, $30 for the entire weekend. The Grand Canyon Tattoo Convention, May 2nd through May 4th at the Phoenix Shrine Auditorium. Brought to you by Bacanora, Gypsy Rose Tattoo, and Shack Builds.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
It was a draft that has received, I would say, mostly high remarks across the board. A draft that was focused mainly on continuing to beef up the defensive side of the ball. And the Arizona Cardinals continued to operate with a mission statement in mind. We are going to be better defensively. We are going to improve what was our biggest weakness last season. Their biggest weakness last year was their inability to get after the quarterback. And in one offseason, whether or not it works is a different story. But in one offseason, the Arizona Cardinals have attempted to completely rewrite that narrative. And I think, in many ways, have rewritten that narrative. I don't think anybody is going to get to training camp, the first couple of preseason games, and point out that a major hole on the Arizona Cardinals is their defense and their pass rush. I think that's off the table. But what will the biggest question mark surrounding this team be? What will be the fodder for the national media when they discuss the Arizona Cardinals? What is the thing that everybody is going to point to that might hold the Arizona Cardinals back? Because I don't think the Cardinals are a complete roster. I think teams like the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Bills, the Ravens, those are complete rosters that do some roster maintenance year to year. They draft to fill a small hole here or a small hole there, or to think long-term about somebody who's maybe aging or whose contract is expiring. Those rosters are mostly complete. Those teams put together some really solid draft classes, and yet some of the time, if they have too many picks, they don't have enough roster spots to go to rookies. The Cardinals aren't like that. The Cardinals aren't a ready-made NFC Championship Super Bowl contending team. I think all of us think, with the work that has been done this offseason and the work that has been ongoing since this new regime was brought in, that the arrow is trending upward, that they have made a lot of great moves, that their off seasons mostly have been amazing in turning around the narrative. But nobody would say this is a complete, ready-to-go championship roster. So where are the areas that they can improve? Is there anything that we would still like to see this team do? And I teased by asking, is there anything major? Now, major, to me, in this context, means I can't start the first week of the season with this position group or this starting spot being the way that it is. I can't open up week one and later on this month, next month, I should say, May 14th, we'll get the Cardinals schedule and we'll see who they're facing on week one of the regular season. And we'll be able to say, when they play blank NFL team, when they play this team week one of the season, you can't have this group be the way that it is. Think about it. Is there a position group that you feel that strongly about? I think the answer is mostly no. Now, do we have questions? Yeah, I'm a little worried about the interior of the offensive line and the depth there. I'm a little worried about the wide receiver room. I'm a little worried about the linebacker group. I'm a little worried about the safety depth just a little bit. There are areas, but if you notice, I talked about depth and injury insurance options, not starters. Now, listen, everybody knows that getting another wide receiver, a true wide receiver too, was very high up on my priority list this offseason. And the Cardinals didn't address that in free agency. They did not address that in the draft. It doesn't look like they're going to address that. I still think that is an area of improvement. But if you look at some of the names that are out there, Keenan Allen, Elijah Moore, trying to think if there was anybody else that stood out to me. I think Jamison Crowder was on the list that I looked at today. There weren't a ton of names that really jumped off the page of, gotta have that guy on the team. He's a real difference maker. It feels like that time has come and gone for the Cardinals to get a meaningful upgrade to their wide receiver room. But even me, the guy who has championed this cause all offseason long, would not put this in the bucket of a major improvement that they need to make. A major move that they still need to accomplish. I'd like to see them trade for a wide receiver too. I'd like to see them sign somebody who can be a wide receiver too. Yes, I think their wide receiver room lacks a little bit of depth, but perhaps Michael Wilson takes a huge step. Perhaps Marvin Harrison Jr. really reaches his potential, and so it's not as glaring the need for a wide receiver too because he's just playing off the charts. All of those things appear to be very reasonable outcomes for next season. So I'm not going to crush them for not doing this. But major, no. I think a lot of the hard work has been done because the Cardinals had a mission statement. That mission statement was, I'm going to improve this defense. We're going to improve this defense. And they spent every resource imaginable. Dollars, cap space, draft assets. They utilized it all to make their defense better and to make sure that going into 2025, nobody is repeating the conversations that we've had over the last couple of years. I mean, last summer, it was, what are the Cardinals going to do about their pass rush? Training camp rolls around. Preseason games roll around. Is this really the group that the Cardinals are going into the season with? Is this really the group that they expect to get after the quarterback? We're not going to have those conversations this year. We are not going to have those conversations when opening week rolls around and the Cardinals are in action. They have done the hard work. They have invested all across the board to make this group better.
I would like to see them add depth, like you said, and at both the offensive line and the receiver room. But talking about the receiver room, there's options out there. Amari Cooper still hasn't signed a deal.
He looked so bad in the second half when he got traded to Buffalo. I saw his name this morning, and the lasting image for me is him just being a no-show for them in the playoffs.
I know, but he really wasn't that bad in the first half of the season.
No.
And obviously you're going to get him for a pretty good deal. He's not going to take up a lot of room on the cap. I wouldn't hate bringing him in. See what you get out of him in camp. If it's glaringly bad, cut him.
It was interesting because he was doing somewhat well in Cleveland, and he was putting up some solid numbers with their mess of a quarterback room. And he got traded to Buffalo, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, Amari Cooper with Josh Allen, the stats are going to go crazy. And then it was just crickets. He did nothing up there in Buffalo. And that was where I started to be like, okay. And I was an Amari Cooper defender. I thought this was a guy that was not talked about enough as one of the great wide receivers in the game. The guy was a walking 1,000-yard season. No matter what team he played for, no matter who was throwing him the ball, it did not matter. Amari Cooper was a difference maker. And he got to Buffalo, and it was a whole heaping pile of nothing up there in Buffalo. So
I couldn't believe it.
I saw his name this morning, and for me personally, I'm a no thanks on Amari Cooper.
I think you can get him for a pretty good budget because of how things ended.
Oh, anybody at this point, you're not breaking the bank for. Anybody that you bring in at this point at a dollar amount, it's not going to. You're taking a flyer, right? You are taking a low risk, high reward flyer on a guy to see if they pan out. If they do, great. They'll cash in next offseason. You're probably not going to be the team that pays them. If it doesn't work out, you've invested maybe a couple $1 million into a player, and you can reap the benefits of that. That's really what you're doing at this point at any spot. These are lottery tickets right now.
Yeah, and I don't mind a veteran to come in and help Marv continue to grow and make the transition to the NFL.
See, if that was the case, I think I'd rather bring in Keenan Allen.
Okay. Same player to me. Like Keenan Allen, yes, he was better in Chicago than Amari Cooper was, but that wasn't much prettier.
No, and after a while, it became the Rome Odunze show there in Chicago. So, and Keenan Allen kind of got put to the back burner a little bit. But I think there's some value there if they wanted to go the veteran route. Again, none of those guys fill the bucket of a true wide receiver 2 that I'm looking for. But some veteran presence could potentially go a long way out there in that room. When we come back, a major reinforcement looks like he is on his way. Can it be the difference? That's next, the lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
Hosier presents the Unreal Unearthed Tour 2025 live in Phoenix. Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, October 7th. With special guest, Amble. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The #1 album, Unreal Unearthed, is available everywhere. For more, visit hosier.com.
At Shane Company, we love a spring engagement, but you might be wondering, How do I find the perfect engagement ring? As a trusted family jeweler since 1929, we get asked this a lot. We have a wide selection of ring settings, like vintage designs with romantic details, floral settings inspired by nature, and classic styles with clean lines and sleek metals. Dreaming of the most beautiful diamond you've ever seen? At Shane Company, we handpick only the sparkliest center stones in all shapes and sizes, from oval to round to marquise and more. We have gorgeous natural and lab-grown diamonds at competitive prices, in-store, ready to compare side by side. Drawn to certain colors? We're known for our rainbow of vivid natural sapphires, including shades of blue, straight out of a fairy tale, handpicked by our owner, Tom Shane. At Shane Company, we have the best free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, plus resizing, repairs, and cleanings for life. Visit us at shaneco.com or in store. No appointment necessary. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Total Wireless is made to totally keep up with you. We have unlimited data that never slows you down, covered by the Verizon 5G network, and all for less than $30 a month when you get 4 lines. And the best part, we give you a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G when you switch to the 5G Unlimited or 5G Plus Unlimited plan. Visit your local Total Wireless store today. Total Wireless, we're totally with you. Actual speeds may vary by location. For data management practices, see TotalWireless.com.
Midweek action on the Diamond here on KDUS AM 1060. Join ASU Baseball as they get ready for their 2-game series against Long Beach State. The Sun Devils are looking to hone their talents and earn themselves more wins as the season continues. The voice of the Sun Devils, Tim Healy, will have the call live. It's Game 1 between ASU Baseball and Long Beach State. Pregame at 6:15 p.m. and first pitch at 6:30 right here on KDUS AM 1060 and online at KDUS1060.com/Sun Devils.
We spent some time yesterday pointing out some potential avenues for the Diamondbacks to improve what has become an area of weakness for them, their bullpen. We talked about Justin Martinez and our concerns with his velocity being down his last time out. We talked about A.J. Puck and still not having any news of how long he will be out and trying to piece together what this team could actually do to make their bullpen better. And it feels like, while they have not officially done so yet, it feels like the Diamondbacks are about to make one of the moves that they have in their toolbox to make their bullpen better, because they have sent down Dre Jameson. Now, they have not made a corresponding roster move just yet, although I'm sure producer Evan is paying very close to social media to see if it does get officially announced. But I believe I saw earlier today that on Instagram, Kevin Ginkel has posted that he is in New York, and that just so happens to be where the New York Mets are, and that just so happens to be where the Diamondbacks are going to be playing tonight. And so it does feel like we are getting to the place where at some point today, if not before the time we get out of here on the air, Kevin Ginkel is going to be activated by the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he is going to join them and join a bullpen that is in need of reinforcements desperately. And it's just one guy, but I do think that Kevin Ginkel's return to this bullpen can actually fix some of their issues. Allow me to explain. Because you look up and down the bullpen, and outside of Justin Martinez and Shelby Miller, who has been great, and producer. All right, we need to break the fourth wall here. Producer
Right-handed pitcher Kevin Ginkel reinstated from the 15-day injured list.
This is radio. You can't just point at me and just give me a thumbs up. I don't know what that means.
Well, I got excited.
You have a microphone, and there's an on and an off button, and you just turn it on and you interrupt what I'm saying. You don't just point at me like the station's off the air. I need a little bit more context, and you have the ability. It's not like you need me to turn your microphone on. You have the ability to push all the buttons back there to tell me these things.
Yes. Well, I pushed the button to tell you that right-handed pitcher Kevin Ginkel has been reinstated from the 15-day IL.
Thank you. That was much better than just a point in my general direction. That was you got to do something. Right. That's what the point was. The point was to keep talking. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. I don't know.
So Kevin Ginkel officially reinstated. Okay, so he is officially joining the team back with this bullpen. And again, it's just one guy. But before I don't want to say rudely interrupted, because I wasn't really interrupted. I was just pointed at. So before I was rudely pointed at by producer Evan, this bullpen has, outside of Justin Martinez, who has a sub-1 ERA, outside of Shelby Miller, who has a 0 ERA, outside of Juan Murillo, who has a 0 ERA and is a newcomer to this bullpen, a lot of question marks across the board, right? Dre Jameson came up, didn't really feel like there was a role that he was going to settle into. Just didn't feel like it, right? We said, could you maybe try to give him some high leverage spots just to see, because you're kind of out of options? The Diamondbacks didn't want to go that direction. Ryan Thompson, Jalen Beeks had been great up until last weekend, where he gave up a lead in that Saturday game against Atlanta. That's one blip on the radar. You want to see him be able to recover from that. But everybody seems, outside of a couple of guys, 2 guys, have gotten touched by opposing hitters. They have given up leads. And while just bringing back one guy doesn't feel like the catch-all solution, here is where it can be an actual fix. Because for just a brief second, let's assume that Justin Martinez is fine. Let's assume that they're going to keep an eye on him and they're going to manage this very carefully. But more often than not, Justin Martinez is going to be available. He's going to be able to be your closer. Okay, I've got the last 3 outs of the game nailed down. It's somewhat of a large assumption at this point, but let's make it anyway. Now Kevin Ginkel coming back, I am thrusting him directly into, you are my 8th inning setup guy. You're the guy that sets things up for Justin Martinez. When J Mart is not available, I want to make sure I have Kevin Ginkel available to be my emergency closer, my backup closer, right? You always, over the course of 162, your main closer isn't getting every save because they can't pitch every day. You want to get them rest, especially with Martinez. They want to be very careful with the velocity dips and the fatigue that he's been dealing with. And so they're going to err on the side of caution. So I need basically a backup closer option. Kevin Ginkel is going to be that guy. So I've got Justin Martinez as my 9th inning guy. I have Kevin Ginkel as my 8th inning guy. Now I can start to reset everybody back into roles that I'm more comfortable with. I'm more comfortable with Jalen Beeks and Shelby Miller sharing the duties on and off depending on matchup of who's going to get the 6th and who's going to get the 7th. Doesn't that feel more in line with what Jalen Beeks and Shelby Miller are as relief options for Torey Lovello? Doesn't it feel more like Ryan Thompson and Juan Murillo are guys that you want to go to maybe if a game has gone sideways for you in a bad way, or you have a big lead and you want them in the 7th or the 8th inning and you've got a 5 or 6 run lead and you want to give Jalen Beeks the night off. You want to give Shelby Miller the night off. You want to give Ginkel or Martinez the night off. Doesn't it feel like just one guy, Kevin Ginkel, being back and being able to be put in the proper role? Kevin Ginkel's proper role for this team is as the setup guy and as the backup closer. By doing that, it feels like it can trickle down and everybody else can kind of settle in to roles that are more comfortable and I think a better usage of their skill set. Now, those guys still have to go out there and execute. Jalen Beeks and Shelby Miller, instead of being asked to pitch the 8th and 9th inning, pitching the 6th and the 7th inning, they still need to execute in those spots. Ryan Thompson, when he's brought in, he has to execute in those spots. If Ryan Nelson, we'll talk about him in hour number 2 of the program today too. There's a great story from Nick Pecoro in the Arizona azcentral.com that talked about Ryan Nelson and his role. But Ryan Nelson, when he goes out there and he is working multiple innings for this team, he has to execute. At the end of the day, this is still all about execution for the Diamondbacks bullpen, but part of that execution might be putting these guys in roles where they are more comfortable, matchups where they are more comfortable. There's a difference between being a high leverage reliever and the mental makeup that comes with that than just being a middle reliever that helps set it up for those high leverage arms. There is a difference. And I think because of everything that's been going on, the chaos that has been in this bullpen, you've had some guys that maybe aren't pitching in their designated roles. One guy coming back in Kevin Ginkel could be the missing piece to help get guys into more settled roles that are better suited for their skill sets. When we come back, With all the investment on defense, does it now need to be the strength of the Arizona Cardinals? That's next to lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. T&Cs apply.
Ghost World Tour 2025. Ghost Theatrical Heavy Metal Arena Rock. August 11th, Footprint Center. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Ghost.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I'm Cameron Scadaboo. My job? Outwork everyone. No shortcuts. No days off. And when I found Moxie Pest Control, same vibe.
Hey, thanks, Cam. It's Austin, owner of Moxie Pest Control. We train hard too, just on bugs instead of linebackers.
Hey, pests are tougher than some of the defenders I've seen, but you guys never flinch.
Nope, never. Whether it's scorpions, ants, spiders, we go in strong every time, and we treat your home like it's our own.
And I've seen it. You showed up at my house like it was game day, covered every inch, took care of business. You know, Moxie is basically the Cam Scadaboo of pest control.
That's the Moxie way, thorough and relentless, just like you on Saturdays.
Yeah, and now on Sundays.
We can't wait to see you in action, Cam. Cam Scadaboo's got Moxie. How about you? Call 888-MOXIE-10. That's 888-MOXIE-10. And take 50% off your initial service. Moxie Pest Control, the highest and most reviewed pest control company in Arizona.
Are you tired of seeing rust stains in your sinks? Call Culligan. Or scrubbing hard water scale buildup from your fixtures. Call Culligan. We can customize whole home solutions to address common water worries found in Phoenix. And now, for a limited time, you can get better water at every tap in your home for $0 down, no payments, and no interest for 6 months. Problem water is no problem for Culligan. Contact your local water expert today. Contaminants may not be in your water. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for details.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
12 o'clock hour of the lunch break, Tuesday edition of the show. Chris Schubert here with you. Appreciate all of you joining us here today on the program. Producer Evan, you want to point at me with any more news? Did the Cardinals sign a wide receiver or anything? No?
I got nothing.
Just pointed at me.
Listen, it was a mistake. It was so reactionary.
Clearly, you just like point like I did something wrong. I was like, did I say something improper?
Well, at first I snapped, and then I was like, oh, we got it. Like, because we were talking about it, and I was like, oh.
So you do realize that if your microphone is off, I'm in a soundproof room. I can't hear you snap if you were trying to get my attention.
Yes.
So you snapping, you're the only one that heard the snapping.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page of how this radio thing works. You've been doing great so far in your first month of being the producer. Today, not a great first hour for you. I won't lie. That was a tough scene, just pointing at me. It's a radio vehicle, and I was looking the other direction. I was looking at the camera for the YouTube audience, and I just, out of the corner of my eye, just see your hands fly up into the air. I thought at first something was terribly wrong, and then my next reaction was, did a trade happen? Did something just and then you're just like, yeah, no, Kevin Ginkel's back.
Yeah, I just got excited because we were talking about it. Felt like good timing.
Okay.
My bad.
That's fine. That's fine. Just making sure that everything is okay over there. Hour number 2 of the show. Appreciate you all being here. We talked in hour number 1 of the program today about the Cardinals and what they were able to accomplish in the draft, and how was there any other major things, moves that we wanted to see this team do. And we said no. We said that mostly all of the hay is in the barn, that they've done a really great job. And they've done a really great job because their mission statement, which was, hey, we are going to improve this defense. Our defense is going to be better. We are no longer going to have the excuse that our defense is what let us down. And I think out of any of the off seasons that Monty has had here in Arizona, this is one where they went all in. They pushed all the chips into the middle. Josh Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell, drafting Walter Nolan, drafting Will Johnson, defense. All of their picks, but one were on the defensive side of the ball. They pushed all of those chips into the middle, and they said this defense is not going to be a topic of conversation. We are not going to allow this to be the weak link of this football team. And so that led me to think about this. Are we now in a place where the defense is the strength of this team, where the defense is going to be what carries this team? Are we now in a world where the offense is under the microscope more than the defense is? Going into the offseason, it was the offense didn't play terribly. The offense was fine. It could be better, but the offense was good enough. The defense was a problem. The defense had its fair day in the sun where they were good. That 4-game winning streak that they went on was in large part because of how well the defense played. But the second half of the season, post-bye, a lot of their struggles can be contributed to the defense, I think, just running out of gas. I think about the game they played up in Seattle, the first one. The defense, I thought, played well enough to win. Their offense just did absolutely nothing. It was both sides of the ball certainly played a role in what happened after the bye week, for sure. But the defense was something we were worried about even when they were winning 4 games in a row of, is this sustainable? Is this defense going to continue to do this? Because they're kind of doing this with smoke and mirrors right now. They've got a bunch of guys that are hurt. They don't have the guys up front. They didn't do a whole lot at the trade deadline. Like, at some point, this house of cards is probably going to come falling down. No? And it did in the second half of the season. But with all of the investments that were made, paying Josh Sweat big money, bringing back Calais Campbell, bringing in Dalvin Tomlinson, Darius Robinson being one of your draft picks from a year ago, Walter Nolan being your draft pick in the first round this year, adding Will Johnson, all of the heavy investments that you have made defensively to this team. Are we now at a place where there's no excuses for this defense? They have to be great. They have to be one of the best units in football. When we talk about great defenses next season in the NFL, the Arizona Cardinals need to be on that list. Does it need to become the strength of this team where the defense is shutting things down and now all of our focus and attention goes to, can the offense hold up its end of the bargain? And I don't want to say that it needs to be the strength of this team, but it certainly is the strength of this team. And it goes back to a long-standing view that I've had about this season for the Cardinals. And I'm sure many of you agree. This year's about Kyler Murray. This year is his last chance. This is it. Kyler is in put up or shut up mode. This team is either going to break through and make the playoffs and win a playoff game and show that all of this work has been for all the right reasons and they've made the right decisions and sticking with Kyler was the right call and the slow burn that they have gone under for the last 3 seasons is going to pay off. That is what this season is about. That falls on Kyler. And we said, this season is about not having any excuses across the board. And so ask yourself, with Marvin Harrison Jr., with a revamped offensive line over the last couple of years, with James Conner, with Trey McBride, and I can't say this anymore. I used to be able to say the highest paid tight end in the league. I cannot say that anymore after George Kittle signed his new deal today. Highest paid tight ends in the NFL in Trey McBride. So Marvin Harrison Jr., a revamped offensive line, Trey McBride, James Conner, one of the best offensive units that Kyler Murray has had since being here in Arizona, to go along with the best defensive group that has been together at least since Monty and JG have gotten here with all of the investments. Guess what? I know many of us are on the fence about what the Cardinals are going to be able to do this season. We're still not sure. But why aren't we sure? The reason why we're still up in the air, the reason why we don't know what this Cardinals team is going to be or what they aren't going to be next season is because of the quarterback. I'm not going into this season wondering, can this defense do its job? I know this defense is going to be much improved. They are going to be a better unit than they were a year ago. I know that Marvin Harrison Jr. is an extremely talented wide receiver. I know how good Trey McBride can be. I know how much of an impact James Conner can be on a football game. The one question we all still need to get answered is Kyler Murray a franchise quarterback? And this year, there are zero excuses. So they invested heavily on defense because it was an area that they needed to improve, but also the investment heavily on defense in free agency and in the draft, it has put us at this point. There are zero built-in excuses on this roster for Kyler Murray. This thing, his future in Arizona, is going to be directly dependent on his play.
We've talked about it before, but this is the first year that it feels they're even capable of getting out of this contract. This is it. Yesterday we highlighted, is this the most talented roster he's ever had on both sides of the ball? We compared it to a few years ago when they had the 10-6 team that had the second half fall apart and then the wild card game. All of that comes to what does 2025, 2026 look like for Kyler Murray? And I think that if they add another receiver to that room, there is no excuses whatsoever if they don't go. I don't even want to give them a number on wins, but if they don't look much improved.
Yeah, save that for the win-loss game next month, please. We have to wait for the schedule to
Sorry.
come out. Yeah, please. We don't want to give away our predictions way too early. We got to wait for the schedule to release, and then we'll give out our way too early predictions in the middle of May for the NFL season. Please. It's April. We got to save this. That's a May topic. It's still the end of April. Please.
Isn't it awesome how much the NFL controls the year-long schedule?
In May.
In May, everybody's going to highlight, I think the Cardinals could go 11-5 this year.
For us, it's not going to be May 14th because the schedule will get released later in the day. So it'll be the May 15th show. But May 15th, I can tell you right now, we are already going to, I can tell you now on May 15th what we are going to do. We are going to play the win-loss game for the Arizona Cardinals, and we're going to talk about how tough their schedule is. It's what we're going to do, and we're going to make predictions, and it's May, and we're going to get ready for the football season. May, and we're going to do this. So, yeah, I mean, the NFL is the sport that runs the sporting world. I mean, it is a machine. It is a beast that every single day something is happening. I mean, every single day something is happening in the football world. And I think, to your point, the end of this year is the first year where they can really get out of this contract if they want to get out of it. And it's a contract that they didn't agree to. It's a contract that they didn't sign. It's a contract that they inherited. It is a quarterback that they inherited. This is it. This is the year, because I'm not wishing this, but unless there is just injuries galore, like there are so many injuries that the Cardinals set a record for salary that's on the injured list, I think this defense is going to be a top half of the league unit. I don't have the statistics in front of me, but my assumption would be that in almost all major statistics that you would look at, the Cardinals were in the back half of the league defensively last season. I think right now they are a top half of the league unit. And so if they make that flip, they are going to be able to impact games defensively. They have the talent offensively. It all comes down to one guy. It all comes down to, is Kyler Murray, with this roster around him, ready to be a franchise quarterback? And we've had this conversation before. Many of you have heard me use this analogy in the past. Some quarterbacks are trucks and some quarterbacks are trailers. The truck pulls the trailer. The truck pulls the rest of the team, gets the most out of the rest of the team, and elevates them to another level. Other quarterbacks are trailers, and they need the truck to pull them. Whether or not you think Kyler Murray is a truck or a trailer, in either scenario, if he's the truck, this is the best trailer that he has had to pull since getting to Arizona, I would say, in many respects. From a coaching perspective, from a roster perspective, from a consistency perspective. If he is a trailer and he needs to be pulled by the truck, this is one of the best trucks that he has had since getting here to Arizona to be able to pull him and make him great and be able to have him get the results that this organization is looking for. But it all comes down to what he is able to do. There are zero built-in excuses. I don't want to say they were excuses last year, but you started the season wondering aloud, how many games can this team really win because of their defense? Like, their defense is a real sore spot. And it's going to require Kyler Murray in this offense to score 30-plus points every single game if they want to have a chance to win. I mean, we were saying that before the season begins. Going into this year, we're going to say this defense is going to have the Cardinals in the game in the fourth quarter. They're going to have a chance almost every week, if not every week, in the fourth quarter to win a football game. That means a lot of opportunity for Kyler Murray to show, for once and for all, his last chance to show that he is the franchise quarterback that this team needs. When we come back, there are two players that are not in their designed roles right now. What can the Diamondbacks do about it? That's next, the lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Lincoln Park. From Zero World Tour 2025. Live in Phoenix. Footprint Center, Saturday, September 6th, with special guest Gene Dawson. Get tickets now at livenation.com. For more, visit lincolnpark.com.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
Looking to sell your home? Hi, I'm Andrew the Home Buyer, and I love making it easy to sell your house. I'll personally come and give you a cash offer the same day we meet, and I'll beat any other offer. It really is that easy to sell your home, and no need to clean or fix anything. I'll buy it in as-is condition. Call me, Andrew the Home Buyer, today to get your same-day cash offer. Visit andrewthehomebuyer.com.
Stars are shining down on Goldberg and Osborne. The Eagle has more than 2,200 five-star Google reviews from across Arizona, like these.
They go that extra mile to let you know they care. A wonderful experience.
They treat their clients like family, and their professionalism is the best in the business.
They made sure I got a great offer. Like a bulldog, they fought for me.
Well said, everyone. After any accident, remember, the bird is the word. Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-THE-EAGLE.com.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. For most athletes, agents are just the people who get them paid. The deal makers, negotiators, the ones who secure the bag. But Shedeur Sanders' draft night slide may have shown us a different kind of value, the truth teller. Sanders didn't hire an agent, and while there are plenty of reasons a player may go that route, that outside voice is exactly what's needed. The Sanders camp approached this draft like Shedeur was a lock for the top 5. That wasn't just confidence, it was the belief they genuinely held. And without an agent in the room to provide honest, unbiased intel from front offices around the league, they were flying blind. Because if Shedeur knew teams had a second or even third round grade on him, maybe he rethinks his strategy. Instead, draft night became a painful lesson. In this business, an agent doesn't just get you paid. Sometimes they actually tell you what you don't want to hear. And sometimes that's the most valuable piece of advice. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.
You don't wear football cleats to play tennis, so why wear running shoes to play pickleball? Tyrell pickleball shoes make shoes built for how the game is really played. Quick cuts, fast stops, gritty court surfaces. Tyrell has a Vibram outsole for grip, a wide toe box for comfort, and the kind of support that keeps your ankles out of trouble. We've tried them, and trust me, you'll feel the difference. Check them out at TyrellPickleball.com. Tyrell Pickleball shoes, purpose-built for pickleball.
There are two types of golfers, those that can hit solid golf shots wearing sunglasses and those that wish they could. Shaden Precision Eyewear is all about better vision and better golf. If you're lacking confidence to wear sunglasses while hitting golf shots, go to SeeBetterPlayBetter.com and learn why so many tour players and their caddies have switched to the Shaden brand. Use the code 2020 to get 20% off and a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's SeeBetterPlayBetter.com and the code 2020 to see the golf course like you've never seen it before.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KTUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Diamondbacks tonight start a 16-game stretch that I think in many ways is going to determine the fate of their season. They start this stretch 15-13, 3.5 games back of the co-leaders in the National League West, that being the San Francisco Giants and the Los Angeles Dodgers, and they will play both of those teams during this 16-game stretch, but they'll start tonight in New York against the Mets. They'll play 3 against them. They'll play 3 in Philly. They'll play 3 against the Mets here at Chase Field. Then they'll host the Dodgers for 4, and they'll finish with 3 in San Francisco. A 16-game stretch that in many ways is going to determine where this team goes. We said in hour number 1, the goal for this stretch should be that 3.5-game lead or that 3.5-game deficit that you face right now in the NL West. It cannot fall any further than that during this 16-game stretch. That is the bare minimum that this team needs to accomplish. Now, producer Evan has been trying to get something into the show for the last couple of days, something that he has been paying very close attention to. And today, we snuck it in here because he shared with me again today the numbers for Geraldo Perdomo over, what was the sample size that you gave this morning?
There's the last 15 game sample size as well as the last 7. If we take a look at the last 15, he is hitting 185. And if we take a look at the last 7, he's hitting 111.
So 111 in his last 7, 185 in his last, you said 15 games? So all in all across the board, struggles for Geraldo Perdomo. Still drawing walks, though. What's his on-base percentage? Do you have that in front of you?
In the last 7, it's 273.
So despite hitting 111 in his last 7 games, he still has a 273 on-base percentage. So is still taking his walks, is still having a good eye at the plate, just not necessarily getting the results when and if he is putting the ball into play. But you asked me a question this morning. You wondered if it was time to not this time. It was not. We were not discussing that this morning. Although the numbers down there in Reno continue to get just absurd. They're video game numbers. What Jordan Lawler. It's like what my road to the show player would do if I was just sitting down in AAA waiting to get the call up from the big league club. I mean, he is just crushing the baseball down in Reno. We were not having that conversation. No, but you wondered to me. You asked me, is it time to have a conversation about moving Perdomo out of the number 2 spot because he is struggling as of late, and you can't have the number 2 guy in your lineup every day. The second guy that's going to hit on some days, he's your leadoff hitter because you don't want to have Carroll face a lefty to start the game, hitting 111. hitting 185 in his last 15 games. We need more production out of that spot. And that led me to a larger conversation, because while you wanted to bring up Perdomo, I was reading a story in the Arizona Republic this morning, azcentral.com, from Nick Picoro, that talked about Ryan Nelson and his role out there in the bullpen, and a bunch of quotes from Nelson and from Fitzgerald, the assistant GM there for the Diamondbacks, and talking about how, this isn't really the designed role that we had for Nelson. We want to keep him stretched out to be able to give us maybe a spot start, or if we need to go to a starter, he's available for us. And the overarching comparison between those two players is, I think both of those guys are in roles that aren't best case scenario for them. It's not playing to their strengths. Perdomo's strength as a everyday member of the Arizona Diamondbacks is hitting in that 9 spot, being able to take his walks, being able to turn the lineup over. That is where he is at his best. But right now, you have a team that's down Ketel Marte. Before the 4 home run game, it was every day on the show. Every day for the last week, it has been, is Jordan Lawler coming up? It was constant. We were having that conversation. He was struggling. Lourdes Gurriel is still struggling. Gabby Moreno is struggling. They have, outside of Carroll, Naylor, and Smith, the entire offense has been one big, gigantic question mark. And so I answered your question this morning, producer Evan, with a question. If not Perdomo, then who's going in that spot? The reason why it's Perdomo is because they don't have, I think, a natural fit for the guy you want as your number 2 hitter. Corbin Carroll is the perfect leadoff guy. Has that pop so he can hit those leadoff home runs, but more often than not, it's singles, it's walks, it's doubles into the gap, it's that stolen base threat, it's the chaos to start the game. Corbin Carroll is the chief example of what you want a leadoff hitter to be. Your number 2 hitter is, for some teams, the Mets, who you're playing tonight, they go Lindor Soto. They go their 2 best players, 1 and 2. If the Diamondbacks were choosing to do that right now, and when Ketel Marte comes back, he will slot into that number 2 spot. If you were going to do that, you're moving either Smith or Naylor into the number 2 slot. And that doesn't feel like a true use case of their skills, right? They're power guys. They're guys that can leave the yard. You want them to have ducks on the pond. You want them to have traffic out there on the bases. You want them to crush 3-run home runs, right? That's what you're looking to do. And so this team really doesn't have a true natural number 2 hitter. Now, a guy who's been hitting pretty well is Tim Tawa. If you wanted to, you could maybe experiment with putting him in the 2 spot, but that's a tough ask of a guy that you called up to be an injury replacement for Ketel Marte. Not a lot of great in-house options. The in-house option is, hey, Ketel Marte, can you come back and be the number 2 hitter for this team? So 1 through 4, it's Carroll, it's Marte, it's Naylor, it's Smith in some order, 1 through 4 every day. When you get to the ballpark, Torrey's putting those 4 names down, 1 through 4, easy. It's not a question. And so Perdomo is so much better suited to be the 8 or the 9 hitter, to help be that second leadoff guy, to help turn the lineup over, draw those walks. It feels like in the 2 spot, he may be pressing a little bit. He's still taking his walks. Despite hitting 111, he has a 270 on base percentage. So he is still taking his walks over his last 7 games or so. But it is just not, he is not a true natural number 2 hitter for a team that's trying to make the playoffs. He is best suited as a bottom half of the lineup guy that helps turn that lineup over, because he can draw those walks, because he has a great eye. And he has taken some really nice at-bats lately, but he's just not having the results in the hit column that this team wants to see, and it leaves them in a really weird and awkward spot, just like with Ryan Nelson. They don't want him to be the long man. They don't want him to be pitching 3 innings. They want him to be a starter. They just don't have room. They have 5 guys who are healthy. Those are the 5 guys that they think best give them a chance. And so those are the 5 starters that they're going to roll with. And so when they have Nelson as their long man, and I think if Jordan Montgomery didn't need Tommy John surgery, I think Nelson would have been sent down to Reno to where he could have gotten everyday starts. Clearly, I think that's what they wanted to do. They wanted Montgomery to be the long man, be the spot starter, and they wanted Nelson to get everyday regular starts down there in Reno so that when he was needed, he was ready to go and he was stretched out. They are now playing this weird game where they're trying to keep him stretched out, but the bullpen has been somewhat of a mess. They've needed him to try to eat up some innings, and it hasn't necessarily matched up with how they want to use him. It's just been a mess down there in that bullpen, and it has affected Ryan Nelson and their ability to keep him on the plan that they want to use for him, to have him ready if they need him to make a spot start, or if they want him to be an opener one day and give them 3 innings and set it up for a bullpen, whatever they want to do. They haven't necessarily been able to do that, and it goes back to, this is a roster right now that is hurt. It's a little banged up. They are not operating at full capacity, and you're seeing some of the warts and flaws with this roster when they're down the arms they are in the bullpen. When the starting pitching outside of Brendan Pfaadt is struggling. They're just inconsistent. A lineup that is down Ketel Marte, but also has Lourdes Gurriel who's struggling. Gabby Moreno who's struggling. The bottom part of your lineup not really producing a whole lot. You just don't have a ton of options. There's not a lot of areas where you can go as a manager. You don't have an all-star laden lineup with a bench full of all-stars, with a minor league system full of ready-made all-stars to call up and just replace those guys. I mean, you put together the best roster you can. You hope that roster stays relatively healthy, and you hope that you've built up enough major league caliber depth in your minor league system. But at some point, you can tap all of that. And again, other than that, and they're not going to do that for somebody who's not going to play every day. They're not going to call up Jordan Lawler if he's not going to play every day. They don't have, I think, a ready-made solution other than just hope Ketel Marte is back and he's healthy for their offense. They just need Gabby Moreno to break out. They need Lourdes Gurriel to break out. They need the 4-home run game that Suarez had on Saturday to help him go on a bit of a stretch here where he's hot and he's crushing the ball and he's helping lift this offense. That's what they need. They need Perdomo to snap out of whatever funk he is in and get back to being the on-base machine, get back to being the guy that is simple, taking the ball the other way, just keeping the line moving. That's what they're missing right now. So they're a team. They're 15-13, and they're 15-13 for a lot of reasons. Injuries, the bullpen, starting pitching, the lineup. It seems to be something different every single day right now. They have not been able to put this all together and be consistent for a decent stretch. And they've now got a tough 16-game stretch starting tonight where they will look to do that. When we come back, the speculation has already begun that another superstar is going to be available this summer. Is it a blow to the Suns and their offseason plans? That's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh, my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Phoenix, are you ready to ascend? Bring Me the Horizon, USA Ascension Program, Part 1.
Every sky will build, my friend.
Taking over Footprint Center, October 2nd, with special guest
Crawling from hell.
Motionless in White, The Plot in You, and Amira El Fiki. On sale now at livenation.com. Bring Me the Horizon, presented by the Big Red Radio.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at all bashes and select AJ's Fine Foods.
Hear that? That's the sound of a loaded cash explosion. It happens every time someone wins loaded cash explosion scratchers from the Arizona Lottery. Oh, it's happening again. Since tickets are loaded with $1,000 prizes with explosive top prizes of $2.5 million. Plus, a second chance to win $1 million in the Players Club. Head to an Arizona Lottery retailer and play loaded cash explosion scratchers today.
Save on quality treats and eats during our Mother's Day event at Whole Foods Market. Discover only the best for mom with deals on flowers, candles, brunch favorites, decadent desserts, and more through May 11th. Shop in-store or online today.
Yo, this is Flavor Flav, and I am coming at you with one of my flavor faves, Raisin Cane's. So when you're looking for flavor fast, order in a flash, online or on their app. Raisin Cane's. One love.
Hey, Mike Barrow from Barrow's Pizza here. The way we see it, family isn't just a cherished thing, it's everything. For us, that starts with our Grandma Angelina's family recipes brought over from Sarconi, Italy, like our sweet and tangy pizza sauce, 100% real mozzarella, and our fresh dough made every morning. And because every Barrow's is family-owned, never franchised, we personally make sure the quality's there at every location. So stop in and give Barrow's Pizza a try. It's authentic food from our family to yours.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Hey, make sure if you're listening to the program, you download the KDUS AM 1060 app. And if you're listening on the app, that you are registered, you're logged in while you're listening, because when we do giveaways, when we do some app stuff, you got to be logged in and registered to win when we do app-related stuff. We've been giving away Diamondbacks tickets all throughout the course of the season, and you need to be listening on the app to do so. And was looking at the numbers today, and there's a bunch of you out there that are listening to, whether it's the lunch break, you're listening to Jim Rome, you're listening to Dan Patrick, and you're listening, and you're not logged in while you're listening, whether it's on the app or whether it's on KDUS1060.com. However you're listening to the program, if you're streaming us, make sure you're logged in so you can get those listening hours so that when we give stuff away, boom, you're in there. What are you doing? This is easy. It's 2025. Everybody's got an app for everything. We've got an app. Make sure you download the app. And if you're using the app, take that one little extra step and register and be logged in while you're listening. Now, producer Evan, I don't consider myself to be the smartest guy in radio. Okay, I'm the first person to admit. Yeah, I'm the first person. Now, on this program, I'm
a huge nerd.
We are nerds when it comes to certain things, but I am the first person to raise my hand and say I don't know everything. But I'm pretty sure that there are only 2 teams in the NBA playoffs that have advanced so far.
I believe that's correct.
The Thunder, and then if there is another team, it's the Cavs, if I'm remembering the bracket correctly. That's it. If I am remembering the bracket correctly, the only teams that have advanced are the Cavs and the Thunder. Yes.
That is correct.
2 sweeps. So the Cavs and the Thunder are the only teams that have advanced. I still see the Pacers and the Bucks. It's 3-1, and there's a game tonight that feels like it's going to be the end of Milwaukee, and we'll get back to them in a second. The Knicks are probably going to be done with the Pistons after tonight. Do we want to talk about that non-call that the Pistons are?
That was insane.
So
I didn't see it live, but I saw it like just on Twitter.
I was not watching the game live. I saw the clip on social media, and I was like, that is very clearly a foul on Josh Hart, like very clearly textbook definition of making contact. But apparently, from everything that I've heard, now there's a New York bias to the people that I was getting this from. But apparently, it was a very physical game across the board, and that overall, the referees were letting a lot of stuff go in the game. And so that being a non-call, which is kind of par for the course, but the officials after the game admitted that they got it wrong.
I was going to say, they did admit that they got it wrong.
Yeah, they made an official available to the pool reporter, I think, is how it went down. And they said that, yeah, when in real time we thought it was legal contact, but upon looking at it afterwards, it was deemed that it was illegal contact by Josh Hart.
It's hard, man.
But that's your season.
Officiating's hard.
That's your season, though. If you're the Pistons, that's the difference between 2-2 going back to New York and being down 3-1. It is very hard to come back from 3-1. 2-2, game 5, I mean, in MSG, you put all the pressure in the world on the Knicks. Instead, it's 3-1. They got to be feeling great about things. So you got that series ongoing. Boston's going to try to end the Magic season tonight. The Nuggets-Clippers decisive game 5 is this evening. Minnesota has a 3-1 lead. They'll try to finish off the Lakers tomorrow. Same thing for the Warriors. Man, the Warriors being up 3-1 over the Rockets, playing right into the Suns' hands. But perhaps there is a story that is brewing for a team that is still in the playoffs, although tonight may be their last night, but a story that is developing in the playoffs that could have huge ramifications for the Phoenix Suns and what they are trying to accomplish this offseason. Because the moment that Damian Lillard went down with what we now have learned was a torn Achilles injury, the moment that injury happened and the moment that people were resigned to the Bucks season being over, the think pieces came out of nowhere. And Giannis's future, just like it has the last couple of years since winning the title, has come up into question. The think pieces came out of the woodwork to talk about, could Giannis ask out of Milwaukee? Could Giannis want to go someplace else? Was this Giannis's last chance in Milwaukee? And the speculation has begun to run wild. And I'm here to tell you, if that speculation becomes a reality, this is the worst possible news for the Phoenix Suns. The Rockets are one game away from being eliminated from the playoffs in 5 games. We said that a pathway to Houston making a move for Kevin Durant would be getting embarrassed in the first round by Golden State. Losing in 5 to the 7-seeded Warriors, that would be getting embarrassed in the first round of the playoffs. But could Houston hold their trade chips very, very close if Giannis could potentially break free? Compare Giannis to Kevin Durant, both all-time greats. Giannis way younger than Kevin Durant. You're getting way more of a dude's prime. You're getting right now the better basketball player. Do you think Minnesota, even though right now they look like they're going to be moving on and dispatching of the Lakers pretty quickly, the Knicks, they were a team that's been connected to Kevin Durant. The Rockets, the Timberwolves, all of those teams, Timberwolves and Knicks may be moving on to the next round. The Rockets may be getting bounced in the first round. All of those teams, if Giannis's availability is in question, or his future in Milwaukee, I should say, is in question, and he is potentially available, don't you think that before teams talk to the Suns about Kevin Durant, they are going to make sure that Giannis isn't going anywhere? They're going to make sure they turn over every rock, they cross every T, they dot every I to make sure that Giannis isn't available. Because if Giannis is available, every team in the NBA is probably going to make a phone call. And you know what that means? That means the Suns attempting to trade Kevin Durant, that gets put on hold.
It puts you in a situation where you're now the back burner.
You're the backup option.
And Kevin Durant becomes, instead of the hottest option in trades, second. And if it doesn't fall farther than that, third.
He then becomes the fallback option for all of these teams. Now, there is a world where this isn't all bad news for the Suns. Let me outline this scenario. You tell me if you agree or disagree. You have all of these teams. Giannis becomes available. All of these teams enter the sweepstakes, right? It would be just beyond any team. San Antonio would be interested. Memphis would be interested. Denver would be interested. Everybody's going to make a phone call, right? And that stuff's going to leak. It's going to leak out that this team called about Giannis and this team may have offered this for Giannis. And if your fan base, think about all the other teams in the NBA, if their fan bases learn that they tried to inquire about Giannis's availability to try to make their team better, those fan bases may say, well, maybe we should go for Kevin Durant. And perhaps teams that aren't initially on the list of landing spots for Kevin Durant become landing spots because they tried to go for Giannis and they missed. And now they feel like, well, we've got to drop for this. You got to do something. Now you feel like my fan base expects me to do something. My fan base expects me. What if we just took a shot? We tried to get Giannis. That's what we tried to do. It didn't work out. My fan base may expect me to do something. And
you need a team to become desperate in not getting Giannis. And it's not crazy. I mean, a few years ago, the Sixers came out and said they're star hunting, right? You can find a team that's looking to do something similar. And if they can't, their eyes are set on Giannis and they upset the fan base, and all of a sudden focus turns on Kevin Durant.
Now,
and you get somebody willing to give up more than they should.
Now, I think it's more likely that Giannis's availability grinds the Kevin Durant market to a halt for a really long time. I think it's going to take even longer for that to thaw out and for the Suns to be able to make their move. But there is a world where Giannis's availability helps the Phoenix Suns. It also could hurt because everybody has pointed to the Rockets. Everybody has pointed to Minnesota. They've pointed to the Knicks. They've pointed to the Spurs, right? I think there was another link over the weekend between Kevin Durant and San Antonio. These links continue to pop up for the Phoenix Suns. All of those teams would be doing their franchises a massive disservice if they didn't first inquire about Giannis, if they didn't first exhaust every resource to try to land the younger, better basketball player who is going to maximize your championship window. So it means that while the Suns can try to force the issue, they're going to be the fallback option. They're going to be plan B. They are going to be the backup. They are going to be the fallback. They are going to be the scenario that a team goes to after the Giannis situation settles. Now, maybe there's enough of a bidding war that gets driven up that teams pivot and they try to make a move before everybody else jumps, and so they pivot to the Suns, and the Suns are able to get more. I can see a world where it helps the Suns, but I see more of a world where it grinds what the Suns want to do this offseason to a complete halt. And that would be terrible news for a team that their only way out of this is to trade Kevin Durant this summer. So there is a big, massive, seismic player that could become available that alters everything the Suns may try to do this offseason. When we come back, we've got the leftovers, all of the stories we didn't get to throughout the course of the program. Producer Evan has them for us, and we will do it next. It's the lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
The Offspring. Supercharged worldwide in 25. One unforgettable summer night. The Offspring, live in Phoenix. With special guests Jimmy E. World and Newfound Glory. Playing Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater August 27th. Get tickets now at livenation.com. 3 great bands, 1 incredible show. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
You wanted to see me, Ron?
Yeah. See that woman sitting there? When did we hire her?
Oh, we didn't hire her. It's Take Your Mom to Work Day.
I've never heard of that.
Saw it on the internet.
Oh, boy.
Hey, guys. It's neat that Gary has a mom and all, but shouldn't we be talking about Alaska vacations?
That's why I brought Mom in.
I'm sure she's a lovely lady, but she can't promise a 1-year no breakdown guarantee the way Alaskan AC does.
Nope.
And she doesn't promise lower energy bills the way Alaskan AC does.
Nope.
And she doesn't make sure people's air conditioner lasts longer than average the way Alaskan AC does.
Nope. But she sings.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Wow.
Double wow.
Thanks, Mom.
Anything for the president of the company. How long have you 2 boys worked for Gary?
Gary.
Hey, gotta go. Promise to take Mom to lunch. Bye.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska it will always blow strong.
Schedule now at alaskanac.com.
How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like unloading the grocery bags from your car and you decide you can get all the bags in one trip.
I can do it.
So you load up all 14 grocery bags on both arms. Sure, you can't feel your fingers and forgot to take your house keys out.
Almost there.
But you never put down one bag, and you made it inside all in one trip, like the bag-carrying boss you are.
Yes.
Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
Midweek action on the Diamond here on KDUS AM 1060. Join ASU Baseball as they get ready for their 2-game series against Long Beach State. The Sun Devils are looking to hone their talents and earn themselves more wins as the season continues. The voice of the Sun Devils, Tim Healy, will have the call live. It's Game 1 between ASU Baseball and Long Beach State. Pregame at 6:15 p.m. and first pitch at 6:30 right here on KDUS AM 1060 and online at KDUS1060.com/Sun Devils.
Back to wrap up today's edition of the program. Jim Rome's coming up next. Appreciate everybody being here on the Tuesday edition of the show. It's time for the leftovers, all the stories that we didn't get to throughout the course of the program. I don't know what's coming. Producer Evan does. He has all the stories, so we pass the show over to him. Take it away, my friend.
Okay, so we'll start with what a crazy weekend in general for Bill Belichick and his girlfriend.
Oh, this story.
With one of the craziest interviews I've seen on Twitter, I guess. And the story is kind of crazy. But this morning, now, after seeing the interview, UNC is reportedly worried about the influence of Bill Belichick's girlfriend, Jordan Hudson. Quote, this could be a problem from people in the building.
I'm supposed to, as a sports talk radio host, I'm supposed to have an opinion on things like this. I'm supposed to have a take on things like this. I don't know what my take is on this. It seems weird. It seems very counter to everything Bill Belichick is. It seems, I mean, honestly, it's weird to me that he's coaching a college program in general. Like, that part of it is still weird to me. None of this makes any sense. None of it seems like decisions he would make. It seems weird that he's letting somebody else kind of guide all of his life. I don't know what's going on here. I'm intrigued by what's going on here. I'm afraid I'm going to be saddened by what's going on here. Something seems off. That's my take. Something doesn't sit right with me about all of this.
No, I think it's insane. Imagine 5 years ago, even 4 years ago, I told you that he would be coaching UNC in college with a 24-year-old girlfriend who apparently was also refraining from having him answer football questions in the interview.
And she's like the COO of his like media company. I don't know what's going on here. It just seems weird. It's weird to a lot of people, and the UNC part of it is also weird. Just the involvement that she has in the day-to-day operations over there, all of it just seems weird to me.
So strange. The Rockies are now 4-24 and on pace for just 23 wins on the year. Only 2 teams before in the National League have lost 23 of their first 28 games. The 2022 Reds, which I did not know, and the 1952 Pirates.
Do you know what I think the Colorado Rocky players are saying to their fans?
Who cares?
I mean, this team stinks. The Chicago White Sox last year were one of the worst baseball teams I've ever seen. Awful. Dreadful. Couldn't do anything right. The Colorado Rockies are lapping the field in regards to how bad you can be as an organization.
Mickey Moniak is hitting second in their lineup every night. Every night. Yeah, they're historically bad. It's going to be fun to see how they finish.
Not for Colorado fans, it's not. They are not enjoying what they are seeing up there. It is very bad.
You touched on it early in the show. Niners make George Kittle the highest paid tight end ever. 4 years, $76.4 million extension.
Yeah, my takeaway here is this is why you don't get too excited or you don't get too upset when Trey McBride signs his contract and he becomes the highest paid tight end. And you're like, man, do we overpay for a tight end? That's why you don't freak out over things like this. Because, and I said it at the time, we have the receipts on this. We said it was not going to take long for Trey McBride to be right back towards the back of the list when it comes to tight end salaries, because Kittle just got paid. Andrews is going to get paid here pretty soon, more than likely. You have Laporta that's coming up. Bowers is going to get paid. I mean, you've got tight ends all across the board that are going to now reset the mark to where McBride may fall outside of the top 5 in terms of highest paid tight end. So it was a big number at the time. We were excited at the extension. I loved it. I had zero problem with the number because I said at the time, this is going to be a bargain in 2 seasons. It didn't even take that long. It's already a bargain. I'm sorry. This may be a hot take. I'll go out on a limb on this one. Right now, Trey McBride is a better tight end than George Kittle. And the 49ers are paying George Kittle more than the Cardinals are paying Trey McBride.
I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think Trey McBride is a better tight end than George Kittle today. I just think that a little bit of the George Kittle contract is what have you done for us rather than what will you do for us. And there's always a little bit of that as those guys get older, some of their contracts.
I have zero issue with the contract that they gave out, that being the Cardinals, and he hasn't even stepped foot on the field this season with the new contract, and it's already paying off.
I agree 100%. And like I said, we talked about it on the show. That was a good deal when you give another 2 years to it. Eventually, Brock Bowers is going to have to get extended and some of these other guys, and they're going to get massive deals. We think Kittle got a big deal. Imagine what Bowers is going to get in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, and Laporta is going to get paid. I mean, the tight end money is just going to keep going up and up and
up. Okay, so Netflix is releasing a new documentary called The Fall of Favre, kind of chronicling his NFL career as well as his personal life.
Yeah, we watched a trailer of this today, and this covers everything. This covers a lot of the off-the-field stuff, all the way up to the welfare scandal that he is alleged to be a part of. The documentary covers all of it. His time with the Jets, that's all I'll say about that. It covers that controversy. It covers a lot, and it looks like it's going to be one of those episodic things. It doesn't look like it's one full documentary. It looks like it's something that's like a TV series. I
read that it's going to be similar in how it's broken up to the Rodgers doc.
So it's like a couple of episodes. Yeah, and in the trailer that we saw, I saw Peter King get interviewed for it. And listen, if there's one thing that Netflix does really well, it's these sports documentaries and just documentaries in general. So we'll see. The trailer that we watched today certainly leaned into all of the controversy from Brett Favre and didn't really cover a lot of his playing days because the controversies have kind of been a cloud that has hovered over his playing days. So I'll be interested to see how Netflix chooses to go about telling all of those stories. But yeah, I saw the trailer today in our morning meeting, and I was intrigued. Certainly one of those things where if there's nothing on and I see that it's on Netflix, I may pop it on and watch it.
I'll certainly give it a watch. I was kind of disappointed with some of their sports documentaries. They did the Florida one. I felt like they touched over skipped over a lot of the controversies that had happened there. And so it'll be interesting to watch. They typically do a nice job, but some of them have been.
Yeah, I mean, same thing with the 30 for 30s. There are some ESPN 30 for 30s that are amazing. And then there are some where I'm like, I don't think we needed a 30 for 30 on this.
100%. Last story of the day I have for you. This one is kind of interesting. Not that interesting, but I just wanted your take on this. So the other day we saw JJ McCarthy throwing on video for the first time in a while at Vikings practice. Story came out today about him being the full-time starter from Minnesota. There's been a lot of questions about them going out and getting Rodgers or anything like that. But JJ McCarthy is quoted as saying, I know I'm ready to start for the Vikings. So it looks like he's going to be the starter as we get into 2025.
I am fascinated by a team that is sticking to their convictions this strongly. They drafted J.J. McCarthy with the idea that he was their long-term franchise answer at quarterback. They signed Sam Darnold to be their insurance policy, to be a really high-quality veteran backup. And they very quickly had to use their high-quality veteran backup, and he had the most success that we've seen him have in the league. And after that, after going to the postseason, after winning all those games, being one game away from having home field advantage, they said, yeah, we're good. We're riding with J.J. McCarthy. It is a massive, massive bet that they are taking, and I applaud them for being that strong in their evaluation process. But boy, they got to hope it works because people are going. And if Darnold succeeds in Seattle and they struggle with McCarthy, there are going to be people asking a lot of questions. That's going to do it for us here on the Tuesday edition of the show. Jim Rome is coming up next. Producer Evan, thank you for all that you do. Everybody, have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya.
AM 1060 KDUS